Congresswoman Nancy Mace, and from the House Select Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Government, Congressman Darrell Issa. First to you, Congresswoman Mace. So House Oversight Chair Comer is now saying this FBI document alleging that Joe Biden engaged in bribery in the last 18 months of his vice presidency, that he's personally profited in his role of doling out foreign aid in a bribery scheme. We're hearing it involves Ukraine, Congresswoman Mace, that a, quote, oligarch said that he would make it almost impossible for anyone to try to find the money because they were going to launder it through a series of banks and shell companies that Bidens were using. Is that what you're hearing, Congresswoman Mace?
I have not yet seen the document, but in everything we've seen, from the suspicious activity reports to the bank records, we saw series after series, dozens after dozens of shell companies where money looks to and appears to be laundered from adversaries like Russia, like Ukraine, like communist China. And listen, on Thursday morning at 9 a.m., the Oversight Committee is going to hold a hearing. And if FBI Director Christopher Wray does not fulfill the subpoena, we will hold him in contempt, because the FBI is stonewalling the American people on this. They originally would confirm or deny the existence of the documentation. Then they denied Oversight had access to it. And now they're only allowing the chairman and the ranking member to see it, with it being redacted. So now it's time for them to put up or shut up.
So what Congresswoman Mace said, Congressman Issa, now we're hearing it does involve Ukraine, an alleged $5 million bribery scheme. You were House Oversight Chair. Your committee was the only one that held Obama's Attorney General Eric Holder in contempt. This is the one thing the Biden White House can't get around. They can't avoid this question. The House report showed, and Nancy Mace's team worked on it too, why did President Biden's grandchildren, his sister-in-law, his daughters-in-law get paid millions of dollars from China and Romania from these Biden family deals overseas? They're talking $10 million in transfers via this complex array of shell companies. Congressman, what were they selling?
Well, they were selling their last name, and they were selling the access they had to Vice President Biden, including, of course, Hunter Biden getting on Air Force Two in Beijing. They made it very clear that there was that close relationship, that if you paid that family member visited the house and could get things done for you. And it's the reason that demanding a document that Congress has a legitimate purpose to see, and to see broadly with possible votes that come from it, has to happen. Chairman Comer has no choice but to continue pushing until he either gets the document or is forced to hold the Attorney General in contempt.
So what Congressman Issa just said, Congresswoman Mace, is House Oversight, the committee you serve on, is it now probing any and looking into any of the Biden family shell companies and bank records to see if any of those shell companies or any banks took in this alleged $5 million bribery scheme that the FBI document apparently says then Vice President Biden was involved in? This is a follow the money trail now.
Yes, we are trying to follow the money trail. And I'll tell you, the first tranche of suspicious activity reports that we reviewed were only on 2 Biden family members. So whenever we uncover or overturn a stone here, there's more to investigate, including following the paper trail and the money trail with the alleged $5 million bribery scheme. But what, like my fellow Congressman Issa just said, you know, when you follow this around, you see the family members, you see the bank accounts, everything cobbled together. When you connect the dots, if it's not RICO or racketeering or money laundering, it should be. And the American people deserve to know whether their president sold out their country.
So what Congresswoman Mace just said, Congressman Issa, now the question is, which of the Biden family shell companies would have taken in this alleged bribery money? Again, this is an allegation. Is it Rosemont Seneca? Is it Hunter Biden's Robinson Walker LLC shell? Because Congressman Issa, the House report says a company in Romania started depositing funds, eventually totaling more than $3 million, into Hunter Biden's Robinson Walker LLC account just about 5 weeks after Romania's president met with then Vice President Biden in D.C.
Well, these aren't coincidences. And of course, to get a criminal act, and certainly to get what the American people need to see, you only need to have an agreement to do something and various actions that occurred. And all of those are in plain sight. These transactions that include millions of dollars to family members. Obviously, Congress has a demand out to get more details. But at the end of the day, the American people are beginning to understand that if your last name was connected with Joe Biden while he was vice president, money flowed from the very foreign countries that he had gotten authority over to those family members. That is undeniable.
So, the push to discredit this, Congresswoman Mace, it looks like Congressman Comer is saying that this document has footnotes dating to 2017 on it, that the FBI has had this in its possession for about 6-7 years. And, James Comer is saying that at the time, Hillary Clinton was more than likely going to be president. Vice President Biden was not the favored choice. He was trying to make money off his last year and a half of the vice presidency.
That's right. No, that's absolutely right. And you look back and you see the DOJ, the FBI, they didn't lift a single finger to investigate corruption. And they want to hold Republicans to one standard and hold themselves entirely to another. And the American people deserve to have their questions answered. They deserve the truth. They deserve accountability. They deserve transparency. And they ought to know what was really going on behind closed doors. We have the White House revolving door of Hunter Biden's colleagues and clients coming through the White House when Biden was vice president and president today. We have pictures and video of Hunter Biden on the airplanes as he was visiting communist China and other locations around the world. They didn't hire Hunter Biden for his brains. They hired him for the access that his name gave him, including, Liz, as you mentioned, a grandchild, nieces and nephews, a current wife, an ex-wife, a brother, and a son. And they weren't registered foreign agents. There was no business for them to have this kind of money. And the American people ought to know what's going on.
So, final question to Congressman Issa. The American people do deserve transparency on this, but the push to discredit this, Congressman, before America can see the charges. So now the new line is it's not Russian disinformation, it's not Rudy Giuliani information, but Rudy Giuliani was the one who first brought forward the Hunter Biden laptop story. How did that turn out? You know what I mean? So we've got Democrat Jamie Raskin claiming that then AG William Barr dropped these allegations. Is that true?
Well, it's very clear that the FBI has been complicit in this. Dead ends occurred repeatedly, but that doesn't mean that, in fact, they were cleared. It simply means that there are two, as Congresswoman May says, there are two different standards. The standard that the American people expect is the one that Congress is now working toward, which is a level of transparency, and let the American people decide for themselves.
Got it. Congresswoman Nancy Mace and Congressman Darrell Issa, thanks for joining us.